I've been reviewing the Hohem iSteady Pro 4 for the past couple of weeks. A surprisingly exciting and fun to use action camera gimbal that doesn't feel like it's half-baked. Overall, its performance has been pretty good for getting steady footage, but more impressive is that it actually has really good software when you pair it with your smartphone, and the features that you get out of it as well as the customization I think is far beyond what you usually get with these kind of gimbals. And I think that combined with how easy it is to mount your camera, turn this on and have everything set up and ready to go makes this a really good combo and a really good option for getting stable footage with your action cameras. And while this does share many of the same features of other action camera gimbals and gimbals in general, it does have a couple unique things that make it stand out. The first new feature involves the mounting, which has this really cool quick release clip at the top, which allows you to just quickly place your camera. It has a spring on the top lever there that you just pull it and you can kind of slide your camera around until it's snug in place. So what's cool about this is, again, your camera is very secure in place, and you can actually just slide it out. And for whatever reason, if you don't want to actually release the clip, you can just use the front part of your camera to widen the opening of the clip, and that's how quickly you can mount your camera to this gimbal. And I think that's a huge advantage with this system, because if you just want to get a shot really quickly and then put the camera away or the gimbal away, you can do that without needing much setup time. Now, this new solution does have a bit of a drawback, which involves the amount of screen that it does cover here on the back side. But continuing on with the features, the next big thing going in its favor is that it has a 3600 milliamp battery. So in addition to powering the gimbal itself, as you can see here, I have a cord that plugs into the side of the gimbal's mount from the top, and when the gimbal is on, it actually powers the action camera at the same time. Included in your kit, you have a variety of adapters and connections, including micro USB and USB-C, USB-C being the one that is compatible with the Osmo action camera. Powering the gimbal and the camera at the same time, you can expect about 3 hours of total runtime. And if you decide not to power the camera at the same time, the gimbal can be expected to run for about 14 hours. Build quality is a composite plastic that helps the whole gimbal stay lightweight at just 365 grams. It doesn't feel high quality necessarily, but it has taken a couple dings, and you can kind of see a few of the marks and scuffs on the side here. But another feature that helps this stand out is that it's IPX4 splash resistant, so it can go and get wet a little bit. You can take it out on a rainy day if it's snowy. So it's good that they've designed a gimbal that can now keep up with the performance and capabilities of your action cameras too. And while they don't say the max payload that the gimbal can support on their website, they do state that it can support most action cameras of this size and most other small form factor cameras that have like 1-inch sensors, including the Sony RX0. However, though, the gimbal does support additional connectivity features which allow it to pair with GoPro cameras, and that list includes the GoPro Hero 5 through the newest 10. Unfortunately, not other cameras, including the DJI. You're able to get additional features. The power button also doubles as a stop, start, record button. Click it twice quickly. That's what's going to switch the modes between shooting video or taking photos. And while it is a bit of a bummer that those features are limited to the GoPro Hero cameras that I just mentioned, I don't think that's too bad, because actually when you're recording with this, it's not too difficult to just press the start and stop button on the camera itself and to switch modes that way. Sticking with the controls for just a moment, let's go over that. It's pretty similar to every other gimbal out there, including for big DSLR cameras. You have your joystick here, which is going to control your pan and your tilt. You'll notice that it can rotate this way, but these don't make any changes to the movements itself. To adjust your tilt, you do have this button on the left-hand side, and then you have your mode button, which is going to switch between PF, PTF, L, and POV. While the gimbal does have pretty good range, it cannot continue going in each range infinitely like some gimbals can. Panning, it's 600 degrees. For rolling, it's 320 degrees. And for tilting, it's also 320 degrees. For a lot of users, they might not need any more, but if you're trying to do more creative shots, this might be a limitation, especially if you want to get movements where the gimbal is going in infinite directions without stopping. As far as buttons go, the last one you have is this trigger on the back side here. When you hold it, it's basically putting this into a power mode, and it's keeping up with your movements a little bit faster. So if you're panning or you're tilting really quickly and you want the gimbal to keep up with those movements as opposed to being a little bit more cinematic and smooth, it will do so if you hold down that button. And then on the side here, you have your 1/4-inch screw. So if you want to have a monitor on the side for your phone so you can actually see what you're recording on a bigger screen, you can do that. And then you have a full-size USB Type A for outputting power. So if you want to use this like a power bank to charge other devices like your phone, for example, or your gimbal for whatever reason if you need a different kind of connection. And then you have a Type-C input for charging the gimbal itself. At the bottom you have your standard 1/8 inch screw, and that is to attach the included tripod feet, which allow this to be placed on a flat surface or an extension arm, or if you have your own third-party selfie stick or any other mount for that matter, it can be attached to the bottom there really easily. Throughout this video, I've been showing some quick side-by-side comparisons of the gimbal's performance compared to not using it at all. You can see it's pretty impressive, so let's just talk about that a little bit more. Even with action cameras that have pretty good built-in stabilization, like the Osmo Action Camera, which has rock steady mode, that's digital stabilization that usually works best for movements that are a little bit more predictable and a little bit more uniform. Whereas a gimbal like this is going to help offset bigger movements that aren't as predictable, that digital stabilization can't really help out with. And so in my test with both walking, running, and doing some more tricky movements, this was a great tool for getting steady footage. And so going back to the other benefit that I was stating at the beginning, the other major benefit using the Hohem iSteady Pro 4 compared to other gimbal systems is how quickly this automatically connects to your camera after you initially pair it using Bluetooth 5.1. And once you're paired, that's where you can manually control the gimbal using the inputs on the screen if you want to do it that way. But something more exciting than that even was with setting keyframes, where you can actually set 0.1 through, I don't even know what the max amount you can do. I think I went up to 10 and I thought that was a little excessive even. But this can do that. You can't set the interval between each keyframe. You can only set the total time for the entire amount of keyframes. So that's a limitation there. But aside from that, it works extremely well and I didn't encounter any issues with it. Aside from those controls, you do have the ability to change some of the motor strength settings. Depending on the camera you're using, if it's a little bit heavier or a little bit lighter, you might feel the need to do that depending on the kind of shots that you're trying to get. And then lastly, a couple final points I want to share before wrapping this up is with its size and its portability. It's not as pocketable and portable compared to some of these other small form factor gimbals, including ones for action cameras as well as smartphones. I know some of the competition now have implemented designs that actually allow them to fold in half. They are going to be a little bit wider, but it at least makes it a little bit more pocketable sometimes. With its size here, it's not the easiest thing to just stick in your pocket. But tied in with that, you don't have the ability to lock off your axes, as some gimbals allow you to do, so this thing isn't wobbling around all the time. The case itself is high quality and well built. It has enough room to store the gimbal as well as some of your accessories. So I have the additional case for the Osmo Action Camera, as well as some of its battery accessories that can also kind of fit in some of these additional corners within the case. It does fit all your accessories nicely in one case, so you don't have to carry additional bags. And so to wrap this up, with this gimbal, you're gonna be able to get really steady footage. Whether you're trying to get some really crazy action shots or you want some more cinematic footage, this is a good choice. Again, something that really surprised me and made me really happy about using this was its smartphone app. I think something that I've been seeing with a lot of products and software lately is it just always feels half-baked, like you're just like waiting for a firmware update to fix something that it just feels like it was pre-released. With this, on the other hand, I didn't need to update it, I didn't need to install any other software, and I didn't have any weird bugs and issues that just made the performance or the functionality of this feel limited. And together with the performance of the gimbal itself, this makes it feel like a really complete package. So thanks again for checking out this video. Hopefully this review helped you out with making your choice and getting an action camera gimbal. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you have any questions about it, we can help you out there too. This has been Paul with Make Use Of, and we'll catch you in the next one.